So hopefully for some of you, Ben is a familiar face. I know for me, definitely is as my personal pension agent. So we've got a pretty awesome session tonight planned. Just a little bit about Ben, and then we'll just get right into it. Ben has been involved with insurance for about the last 15 years. He worked in a senior position at Migdal, which I think many of us know, major firm. Then started to work at Value, where he was promoted to the CEO of the company. This is all nice and good, but how does it help us? Why do we care? We love your progression, Ben, but basically, what makes us very special is Ben has a very insider knowledge of insurance, healthcare, all these things. Being an Israeli, so he knows also the loopholes. He knows areas where Anglos often miss out, where it's different from coverage in their home country. But what's unique is he has an Anglo style of service. If anyone that's worked with Ben before knows, kind of, he's extremely responsive, extremely helpful, and all that kind of stuff. So, intro sort of out of the way. The main goal for the session is just for him to share knowledge about insurance, different types of coverage, field questions. There's going to be an open Q&A. If anyone wants to get more help from him, he also offers a free consultation, no strings attached, if you have special questions, cases, sort of all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what we've got planned for tonight. Um, all right, Ben, maybe let you take it away.
Yeah, I will take it away. I will say that I am Anglo's service still, but my accent is not yours and my English is not yours. But I will do my best. I got improved in the pension language English. So now we'll do the health language English.
We believe in
Uh,
you, Ben. You can do it.
yeah. So okay, I'll do share screen. I I I think we need to check if there ever been a Zoom with no screen being shared. Check it. So, but this in this one we'll have a share screen as well. Uh, okay, basically, uh, for a long time, Malcolm talked to me about this health and private insurances area, and I always explained to him that it's really hard to do it combined with pension and funds and finance. It is in the same area of insurances, but it's very different. Usually, it's better to speak about it separately. Okay, so today we will I will try to explain, generally speaking, how works the health system in Israel for like 5 or 10 minutes, and then why health insurances exists. And then the main, as Malcolm said, the loopholes or holes or unfamiliar things about the health insurances in Israel. I must say it has nothing to do with the fact that your first language is English. I mean, Israelis and everybody really they don't really control in this area. There's a lot of confusion. Every person, the second question is, why do I need it? What's the difference between this and Kupat Kholim? This is the classic question. So we try to answer how it works in Israel. And in the end, I will speak shortly about life insurances and critical illness insurances. I will talk shortly about it because it's really simple to explain. And as Malcolm said, the idea is to give you the time to ask questions on whatever on your mind. So feel free to do so. And after that, if someone really wants to check things, this area is really personalized. I mean, it's every person has his own questions or needs. It depends on the age. It depends on what you've got right now, etc. Okay, so let's start. I'll start with explaining how it works in Israel, the health system in Israel. There are 3 layers of coverages in Israel. The first one is public care. The second one is the Kupot Kholim, Maccabi, Clalit, Meuhedet, Leumit. And the third layer is the private one, the insurance companies, Harel, Phoenix, Migdal, Clal, and some other smaller companies. First of all, I want to explain something that most people don't understand. That this layer that you see here, it's not completely correct, which means I will ask a question. Who gives the public care in Israel? I mean, public care is being paid from the taxes, and then you get free public care. Where do you get it? It's a question. Someone like
The Kupat Kholim. From your Kupat Kholim.
Correct, and the hospitals.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, there's the hospitals and the Kupat Kholim, but I want to clarify something. Even if someone decides not to pay to Kupat Kholim, nothing, not Zahav, not Mushlam, nothing, not to pay, he can still do 80% of the stuff that you do in Kupat Kholim. You can do a family doctor, you can do a blood test, you can do to see doctors, okay? Because most of the money that Kupat Kholim have is from the taxes, from the government. In addition, they charge you another money for the second layer, for the Zahav, Mushlam. They have also the third layer, the Sheli, the Platinum. Okay?
Can you also, when possible, Ben, translate the terms to English just for people that are less familiar for some of the terms as you're going through?
For example?
Like you were just saying, well, I mean, Zahav is gold. So just keep in mind if there's terminology people don't understand.
No problem. I believe that almost everyone, maybe everyone that in this session, if someone is at Kupat Kholim Clalit, automatically he has another layer. He has Clalit Mushlam or even higher Clalit Platinum, which is being paid by credit card. Okay? Because the Kupot Kholim were able to market it and to sell it to everyone. And it makes sense to have it, by the way. But I'm just saying as a theoretical thought, even if you don't pay it, you can still go to the Kupat Kholim. That's what I was saying. Okay? Now, in the next slide, we will try to explain what is covered, not covered. Basically, in the public care, how do you decide if to go to Kupat Kholim or hospitals? Someone? How do you decide if you go to a hospital or you go to Kupat Kholim?
Emergency.
Correct. When you go to the hospital, you go when it's an emergency. But sometimes you make a mistake. It's not an emergency. And therefore, they have the emergency room in the hospital to make sure it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, you stay the night. And if not, they send you away, right? And tell you, go to the Kupat Kholim. You are confused. You are not going to die, so go to the Kupat Kholim. Okay? Of course, when it's something really simple, like a headache or something that's annoying, you go straight to the Kupat Kholim because you know that the hospital will not take care of you. Now, before I go to this slide, I want to say that in Israel, and we saw it usually, especially in the COVID, in 2020, we saw that the Israeli public care and the Kupot Kholim doing a nice job. And in my opinion, 70 or 80% of the cases, the public care and the Kupot Kholim doing a really, really good job. So why, and this is the first question, why does private insurances exist in Israel? Why more than half of the people have it? It's because two main reasons. The first reason is there are three significant gaps in the healthcare system of Israel, which means that there are only 3 cases that are not covered, and it doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter if you're in Maccabi or Leumit or Meuhedet, and it doesn't matter in which layer are you in the Kupat Kholim. You can pay the most of the Kupat Kholim, it doesn't matter, it's not covered. All the 3 cases are very, very rare. There are really low chance it will happen. That's why it's not covered by the Israeli system. On the other way around, it's for sure very, very expensive. Because what the Israeli system decided that if they have, for instance, $1 billion, they prefer to take care of as many people as possible. So if there is one medication, for instance, that can save 5 people in Israel, or 1,000 people in Israel, which is not a lot, and the price of the medication is 1 million shekel, they decide to give up on it and use this 1 million shekel to help another 10,000 people for something more common. So every year they decide which medications will be in the health basket. And obviously there are always medications that stays outside. The most famous cases is the injections to look better, right? The Wegovy, the Ozempic. So the Ozempic first was out of the basket, then they put in the Ozempic, and then they kept outside the Wegovy. So, and this is an example of how to say it, like a cool medicine. Of course, when it gets to life and death, it makes all the difference. I mean, someone can have a problem like a cancer, that there is this special medicine that he can use, and because it's not in the health basket, because it's very expensive, there's no coverage. And it doesn't matter, again, the Kupat Kholim or whatever. The other two cases are similar. Everything that has to do with abroad. If someone wants, because he believes he can get a better treatment abroad, there is a theoretic option to get it, but in the real life, you cannot get it. It's really, really hard to get the approvals. By the way, the transplants, there are no problem to do it in Israel. Like, they're really good doctors. It's just that there are not enough organs in Israel. So therefore, sometimes you need to wait in line in Israel for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you can get it in a year abroad. So these cases are very, very rare on one hand. On the other side, are really, really expensive. Basically, these are the only cases that someone that has a capital can lose most of it or a lot of it because of a medical problem. By the way, there were a big reform in Israel in the health insurance, private insurances. And from 2023, me or any agent or any company has to make sure that the client has this before he purchases anything else. Like, there's a priority for these coverages to take care that the people will have medications and a broad coverage. Questions so far?
Just on that last point, Ben, that means that anyone that went recently in the last 2 years to get health insurance has these items on their list because that was a requirement before they get any gold level or platinum, or just to make sure
No. The gold platinum is not an insurance. If you want to add an insurance, since 2023, you gotta buy these 3 before you buy anything else. I will show
category
like
of health insurance.
Private insurance. You're talking about
in 2 or 3 slides.
insurance.
I will show the insurance products, and then I will explain that the first 3 has to, like, a person gotta have it before he wants to do something better. Okay? Now, the second reason, and maybe the main reason why people do private insurances, has to do with the fact that the Israeli health system is not private, it's public. Okay? Like in transportation, we have public bus and not a taxi. In public hospitals, it looks the same. It's not like, I don't know, I believe that some of you were in a public hospital and were in a private hospital. It doesn't look the same. Now, I want to explain something really, really important, and I will explain it in the next slide as well. If someone thinks, let's have who in this session has Clalit Mushlam or Maccabi Zahav? Raise your hand so we'll see the... Or Maccabi Zahav or Clalit, he has a better one than the first one. או כללית מושלם, או מכבי זהב, או מאוחדת C. Okay? Everybody has it, okay? So don't feel special. Okay? So if you have a Clalit Mushlam, 3 million people have it. And if you have Maccabi Zahav, 2 million people has it. Okay? So it is public. Now, what happens when something is public? Besides the fact that it's crowded, the main problem is the waiting line. Okay? This is like the average time you need to wait for surgeries. Now, this is private surgeries through Kupat Kholim. Okay, so I will not do the translations, but usually is between 1 month to 5 months to do a surgery. Okay, it can be an eye surgery, spine surgery. Okay, now more than that, it's even hard sometimes not to get the surgery, to get to see the doctor himself. Like if you want to go to see a really good doctor, a neurologist, a cardiologist, any specialist that's considered to be good, usually the waiting line is between 1 month to 3 to 4 months. So if you want to do the surgery, you need to meet him, which takes time, and then for the surgery. Now I want to explain why because it's not on purpose, but there is a reason why it happens. Okay, in every category, let's say Debbie, for example. Okay, Debbie Zilberman. Let's say that she's a really good back doctor. Okay, let's say that in Israel, in the area that she is really good, there's 8 really good doctors. Okay, this is usually how it works. In every category, there's like 8 doctors who consider to be really, really good. All of them, including Debbie, are working in hospitals as department manager or like in a really, really good job in the really big and best hospitals in Israel. It can be Hadassah, it can be Tel HaShomer, it can be Ichilov. Okay. Now, Debbie works every day in the hospital until 3 o'clock, 5 days a week, even weekends, and she makes a lot of money. Good for her because she is really good. But are you Jewish, Debbie?
Yeah.
Because she is Jewish, she wants to make more money. Okay? So what she does, she wants to go after 3 o'clock to rest for 2 hours, and then from 5 o'clock to 9, go private. And then she opens a clinic and she wants to charge 1,500 shekels for an appointment because she is really good. And then she finds out that the calendar is not fully booked for all the week because it's a bit too much. So what she does, she calls Jenny Handel. Now, Jenny Handel, she is not a doctor, but she is really, really a high-class senior worker at Maccabi, Kupot Kholim Maccabi. And Debbie says to Jenny, listen, Jenny, I want to work with you. I charge 1,500 shekels per visit. Can you pay me this and then you send all your clients to me? Jenny, what do you say? Are you willing to send people and pay 1,500 shekels for them?
The Maccabi.
The Kupat Kholim, yeah.
The Maccabi has, and what do I get?
And then you can give your clients the best doctor in Israel, Debbie.
Yes, of course.
Of course not, Jenny. You are Kupat Kholim.
Oh.
You're not going to pay 1,500 shekel.
Okay.
So you tell her, listen, Debbie, you want 1,500? I'll give you 500. And then I charge another 300 from the client. Debbie, what do you say? You wanted 1,500, you get 500. What do you say? Okay, so now what Jenny will tell you, listen, Debbie, let's cut a deal. You want to take 1,500, go for it. Let's make a deal, not for the whole week, only Monday and Thursday. Come to my clinic. Jenny has a lot of clinics at Asuta. I'll get you the room, I'll get you the receptionist, and I'll get you unlimited amount of clients. You come, twice a week, do your 4 hours. By the way, if you get lucky, you will see people that also need surgeries. In surgeries, you make even more money, right?
Okay.
So what's happening that if I'm as a client want to see Debbie through Kupat Kholim, I can see Debbie only on Monday and Thursday in the afternoon. And as I said before, it's not only, I'm only Maccabi Zahav. Who else has Maccabi Zahav? Malcolm, you with me? Who has Maccabi? So a lot of people have Maccabi Zahav. So basically, in any problem that you've got in the Kupat Kholim, it's you with another 2 or 3 or 4 million people for the same 4 doctors. Why 4? Because if Debbie works with Maccabi, give me another name, Morris, who's also a really good doctor, will work with Kupot Kholim Clalit because Jenny doesn't need him. She has Debbie, right? So the doctors are split between the Kupot Kholim. They work only twice a week in the afternoon, and therefore the waiting time is really, really long. But if I want to go to Debbie private, I will never call Debbie because Debbie is an important doctor, but Malcolm works for her. And I can call Malcolm, and he's like her secretary. And Malcolm will ask me, do you want to come through Maccabi on Wednesday? Or do you want to bring 1,500 shekels and come on Tuesday? Because on Tuesday, she can meet you next week, not next month. Because you have different lines. The line for the Kupat Kholim and the line for the private. Now, the story is only to understand how the system works. Because you as a client, you come to the restaurant, but on the back, there is the kitchen. And this is how it works. The good doctors work on the day on the hospital, twice a week with the Kupat Kholim, and another 2 days private, and another day taking care of the grandchildren. Okay, this is how it works usually with the doctors. Okay, and once a week, by the way, or once in 2 weeks, they do surgeries. And also with surgeries, it's different price when you do the surgery with Kupat Kholim or when you do it completely private. Okay?
Ben, just for clarification, when you're talking private, is that what we understand to be sharap?
Yes, sharap is sort what okay, I will explain from the beginning. There are 2 types of surgeries in Israel. Emergency is done in hospitals, and it's the fastest way to do it. When someone has heart attack, it's not private. He will go to the hospital, and Debbie will take care of him there, like no problem. If someone has a really hard car accident, the ambulance take him to the hospital, and the best doctor will take care of him. But this is not most of the surgeries in Israel. Most of the surgeries are, how do you call it?
Elective.
Elective. Okay, that you choose it. It can be orthopedic, nose, back, cataract. Okay, this is the most common ones. And these ones, usually, people do or private through Kupat Kholim with the sharap, or completely private. What I was explaining now, that when you have private, first of all, you can see all the doctors, and not only half of them or 1/3 of them, depends on the Kupa, and you can see them match faster. This is the really main difference between private and Kupat Kholim. But on the other way around, and I will say it, it's not life or death. Nobody will die because he doesn't have private surgery when I'm talking about surgeries and consultations. He can die about the medicine, what I said before about this. Here it can be a life and death. But here, it's simply service. Okay? One person has, no offense, right? Huawei, and the other one has an iPhone. Okay? I don't have Huawei, but I believe that it can do phone calls and it can go onto internet. Okay, it works. Okay, but it's not the same level like everything in life. Okay? Questions so far?
I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have a doctor who you see they have a lot of space on their calendar, as opposed to someone who's really filled up, would you conclude from that they're just not as good? Because my doctor always has a ton of space,
What
but
type of doctor? What type
like
of doctor?
general practitioner.
No, general doctors has nothing to do with it.
Okay.
Okay, we are talking about specialists. Usually, I would say more than that. The Kupat Kholim is extremely good in like the first level of medicines, headaches, blood tests. Like until you do, when you have like healthy person problems, there is no problem. The Kupat Kholim is excellent. But once you need to see the specialist, like a really good skin doctor. I don't know if you've been in a skin doctor with the Kupat Kholim. Usually, it's an actual 2 minutes meeting. Like for real, it's like 2 minutes. And then it goes to the other one. This is like the speed. And you need to wait a month to see him usually. So if you just want him to check your skin, sababa. But if you want to go because you have a real skin problem, it's fair to ask for 15 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So, but again, with the family doctors, there's no problem. They usually have time because today they do a lot with the applications. So a lot of people don't go to them. They do it like online. You decide what medications you want. You send the family doctor. He approves. I mean.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah.
Okay. But again, if you for instance, if you want to see a cardiologist and he's free, yeah, it says that something is wrong.
Okay.
Usually. Okay.
Unless he's just had a cancellation. Unless he's just had a cancellation.
Yeah, correct. Okay, here, don't mind now here, this is the solution that health insurances has for the gaps. And I will do it really shortly because it's really boring and not important. But if you have questions, ask me. But generally speaking, the medications coverage in all the companies is nowadays, by the way, it's identical. And it's basically unlimited. I mean, there's coverage of millions. It contains coverage for medicines, for off-label coverage, for tailor-made genomic medications. Okay, so basically, if you need a medication and it's not in the health basket, it will be covered, generally speaking. Regarding abroad, there is, generally speaking, full coverage, including the flight, including the a hotel for the for the one that escorts you. I mean, really, really strong full coverage. As I said, nowadays, since 2016, this coverage is identical in all the companies in Israel. Okay? I will say one more thing. This is usually between 25% and 33% of the cost of the whole health insurance. Usually, on one hand, people don't use it, but once, if someone needs it, it's really a lot of money. Okay, it's 10,000, 20,000 shekels, 100,000 shekels, 500,000. Okay, really, really a lot of money. Okay? By the way, from these three, the most common one is, of course, the medications. And it also the cost of this one it's more expensive than these other two together, combined. Because the medication, there are really, there are claims. Cancer, diabetic people, etc., etc. Okay? Questions? Okay. The second part, it's much more common and much more known coverages. One is the coverage for private surgeries in Israel. Okay? Today, since 2023, or since 2016, and unless you will ask me later on, I'm not going to explain it because it's a bit more complicated. If you will ask me, I will explain. But from 2016 and after, the best product, it's private surgeries above Kupat Kholim and not Shekel Rishon. Okay? This is a cheaper option. And because of the big difference in the price, this is the better one, which means in this coverage that if you choose a doctor that's not working with your Kupat Kholim, and you can choose it, and he works with the insurance company will pay everything. If you decide you want to go to a surgeon that works with the Kupat Kholim, you do the process with Kupat Kholim, and if there is payments through Kupat Kholim, you get full refund from the insurance company. Okay? There is also full refund for consultations prior to the surgery. And there's also full coverage if you do alternative treatment. Sometimes you don't need to do the surgery, you do a treatment instead. Okay? Questions about this part?
So this you can only have if you've already bought the other one. The one you were talking about before.
Yes.
The other three.
By the way, this part is the most expensive part, usually, of the health insurance. It's minimum third of the cost. Sometimes it's even more. This part is really pricey because on one hand, it happens, it's common. And on the other hand, usually the cost for the insurance agency, the insurance company, is thousands of shekels, 10,000 shekels, 20,000 shekels, because they pay for the surgeon, for the hospital, for everything. Okay? Now the last, by the way, this one also identical for all the insurance companies in Israel since 2016.
So I have a question. If everything is identical, then would the cost to the customer be the same from every, like
it's not the same. It's not the same. First of all, this is it's not the same, but it's similar. What the difference in the companies can be, most likely the service, how quick they pay, how fairly they treat the clients, how many doctors, by the way, they have that work with them as surgeons. Okay, but it's very similar. And when I say it's very similar, I'm like I will not but I know the material, they are very, very similar. And if one company says I have much better coverages, it's not true. Okay, the last one is the most common one. In this one, there are differences between the companies. The majority of the coverages, by the way, 80% of the claims are in this criteria. It's the option to get to a consultations with specialists and get money back, or to get high-speed lines to checkups like MRI, CT, pregnancy checks, ultrasound, etc. In the old ones, in some companies, there's also physiotherapy here, not in all of them. These two parts exist in the coverage of the Kupat Kholim as well. But as I explained before, it's not the same variety and it's not the same waiting time. And therefore, it's a decision of the client to decide money-wise, value for money, if it's good for him, not good for him. Okay? Questions about this part?
Yeah. What is the difference between, as you said, the shekel rishon and whatever it was, the other, or is it irrelevant because it's all the same now?
I tried to make you not to ask the question, but you did ask it.
Sorry.
I will explain. Until 2023, most of the insurance agents and the companies marketed another coverage, a better one, which was shekel rishon, and says that if you want to do a surgery, you can go to any doctor that works with the insurance company and get paid. And it was, before 2023, approximately 10% more expensive than this option. Because in this option, the above Kupat Kholim, if you choose Debbie and you want to go to a doctor that worked with Maccabi, and you're Maccabi or Meuhedet, or what are you?
Meuhedet.
Okay, and you want to go to your doctor in Meuhedet, to a specialist, you have to do the surgery with him, if you want him, through Kupat Kholim. And you cannot do fast lane. You cannot go private with him. You have to do it through Kupat Kholim. You will not pay, but you cannot skip the line of the Kupat Kholim. Now, what happened in 2023, 7 days before October 7th, so less important in Israel history, they changed the rules, and I will not explain why, but in the end of the day, because of that, the insurance company approved to get the price 50% up. And from that point, basically, it's double than the above the Kupat Kholim. So if this costs 100 shekels a person, the shekel rishon, it's 200 shekels a person. And again, and I will explain, and it's hard to explain, but it's not worth the money difference, the differential, in my opinion, of course.
And what if you're if your private health insurance is from pre-2023? It doesn't make a difference.
You need it pre-2016, and I will explain it in the
Okay.
next slide. Okay.
Okay. And what is this one called?
What?
You said the shekel rishon was the old one. What is this one called?
משלים קופת חולים, משלים שב"ן. משלים זה above, ושב"ן זה הקופת חולים, שירותי בריאות נוספים. Okay, now basically, even after I explained the health system, as Malcolm said before, you don't really care about it. You care about yourselves, and you care about what you've got, if you've got. I mean, the classic questions are, do I need an insurance? Do I need all of it? Do I need part of it? A lot of you already have an insurance. So you maybe ask yourself, do I have a good insurance? I mean, is it covering what I want? Is it expensive? Is it cheap? Do I have coverage that I already had in Kupat Kholim and I don't need it? Am I paying too much? Also, some people have insurances through group health insurance, through a workplace, through הסתדרות המורים, חבר, תעשייה אווירית. Which one is better, the group one or the private one? I mean, a lot of people have insurance. Usually, they pay a lot because the health insurance is really, really pricey. It's hundreds of shekels at least. And people don't know even if it's good. I mean, maybe it's good, but someone has to, you want to know that it's good. But maybe the biggest problem in Israel, and again, it has nothing to do with English or being Oleh Hadash. I mean, it's a classic problem that most people, even if they have the insurance, they're having a hard time to use it. Because you don't really know when you go to the hospital, when you go to Kupat Kholim, when you go private. More than that, sometimes even if you know what to do, you don't have someone that helps you to do it. Now you need to understand that if you call to the insurance company, besides the fact of the English Hebrew thing, which is an issue, the person that will answer you is not a liar, he's not trying to trick you, but it's usually a 23-year-old boy or girl that knows almost nothing. And sometimes they do mistakes, and they, not because they are bad people, because they do mistakes. And if someone tried to claim once or twice and it doesn't work, he gives up. He says, okay, I will not cancel it, but it's not working. Now, I have to extend that in this area of not health insurances, health claims, it's a profession. In our agency, for instance, we're not the only ones. We pay 100 a week, 100 claims a week. We know the names of good doctors. We know the tricks. I will give you a good example. How do you call it when you do this check? No? Colonoscopy? Okay. Colonoscopy is not a check. It's a surgery, insurance-wise. Because everything that you put something inside the body, when you penetrate the body, it's a surgery. Now, in the insurance company, you can do, as I said before, surgeries privately. The only thing that you need to show that there is a medical need for the surgery. Okay? Now, if someone wants to do colonoscopy and the doctor writes that because he got to the age of 55, he wants him to do colonoscopy, this is not a medical reason. And then you don't get paid. No covered. If the doctor writes, the patient said that כואבת לו הבטן, there is a cover. I mean, there is two words that the doctor puts in the referral, and there is a coverage. Okay, and there's like millions of different issues that sometimes when you have it, the real problem is not to have a decent health insurance, is the ability to use it. Okay?
So screening procedures are not covered by private insurance?
Come again?
Screening tests, בדיקות סקירה, it's not covered by private insurance?
מה זה סקירה? מה זה, for instance?
So, בדיקה מניעתי. טיפול מניעתי.
No. When it's a real, like, how did you say it in English?
Screening.
Screening, there's no problem. Screening, MRI, CT.
But colonoscopy is screening. That's what I'm asking.
Colonoscopy, as I said before, because it's not like an MRI. They put the camera inside of you.
Yeah, but it is still בדיקה מניעתי. It's טיפול מניעתי.
Exactly the thing that I wanted to explain, that it's not מובן מאליו, it's not obvious.
Okay.
When you do screening, like MRI, CT, מניעתי, no problem. A doctor said he wants to check you, and he sends it. When it's a surgery, it's a different term, and that's why sometimes people send to the insurance company the paper, and then they get rejected. They don't understand what's the difference, as you say, because it's the same. But for them, it's not the same. Okay? Now, the solution for this confusion and for this confusion, because that I'm lucky, and I'm saying this is something that I say for sure. The insurance companies in Israel don't know how to do not good, decent service. Okay? It's like the bank without the application. Okay, this is the insurance industry. It's like the banks without the applications. And therefore, in Israel, it works with insurance agents. Okay? In Israel today, almost only, unless someone as a client likes, and I'm not saying it as a joke, some people like the handling of it. They have fun of learning how to work with or against the insurance companies. The profession that handles it are insurance agents. Just like that lawyers handle trials and courts, and like accountant handles the tax authorities, insurance agent, if he is good, supposed to handle both ways. One, to know by the person what type of insurance makes sense. For instance, I will just give like a really small example. When someone is 70 and above, the insurance is really, really expensive. And therefore, sometimes we explain the person, listen, about the surgeries, try to choose if you want it, because this alone costs 200 shekels a month. On the other way around, some people say, listen, I care only about the pregnancy thing, because now I'm 30 and I'm going to this pregnancy period and I want to make money out of the insurance company. By the way, there's as Debbie asked before, there are also different insurance policies before 2016, after 2016, before 2013, like, and of course the, how do you call it? Right? The group health insurances. That different, are with some of them are really, really good, some of them are really, really bad. So the insurance agent, first of all, supposed to make sure that he's personalizing the policy. But secondly, and much more important, is to make it work. Because there's no point to have an insurance policy, health insurance policy, that costs 100, 200, 400, 500, 1,000 shekels, and a family, usually it's 400, 500 minimum, if he cannot use it easily. Okay? Now, if someone has a guy to go to him, not to me. But if you don't have anyone, I recommend you to try to use me, because in Israel, by the way, the policy stays the same. It doesn't matter if there is an agent, there's no agent, if it's me, it's him, or someone else. I mean, it doesn't affect the price. The fact that you have a middleman. You cannot call Phoenix and ask for health insurance with no agent with a better price. It doesn't exist. Okay? So make sure that if you have health insurance, you have someone that helps you to handle it. Okay?
This is similar a bit, Ben, with pensions. You know, everyone that has a pension by definition has a pension agent, whether they know them, whether the person's helpful, whether you never had any contact with them. It's part of having a pension. What you're saying with insurance is that everyone has an insurance agent, and if they're not helpful for you, you can get a better agent, and your plan price will not actually change.
Correct. I will say more than that, because in pension, and this is what we discussed like months back, Malcolm, in pensions, if you stay in the same workplace and someone checked your pension fund and it's good fees, and you change it to S&P or to stocks or whatever you want, as long as you're in the same job, you don't need no one. This is the, like, even with you, when I'm your agent for a long time, when do you need me? When you change jobs, when you are self-employed and you need to choose how much you know what I mean? But if someone is employed, and someone checked it and it's good fees and he set up the right track, that's it. And usually, especially when you are talking about a family, by the way, your family as well, every year there's something, even small. You want to go to a specialist, you want to go to physiotherapy, okay? You read in an article that it's a waste of money, you want to understand. I mean, usually there's more interactions in this area than in the pension area, unless someone changes a lot of jobs. And then there's like severances and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay? I want to, the last slide, short one, is about life and critical illness insurances. This is really, really easy and simple to explain. We are talking about coverages that pay one-time payment in case of. If it's life insurance, it's death. If it's critical illness, there's a list of like 40 things that if they happen, you get money. Okay? I will say in general that usually in above 50 or 60, people do not have critical illness coverage because it's really, really, really expensive. Okay? So life insurance is much more common, whether because you have a mortgage or whether you want to take care of your kids or whether you want to have it. In this type of insurances, the cheaper, the better. I mean, the only job for you guys and for me or for any insurance is to get the best price possible. I will say, especially in life insurance, in the last 3 or 4 years, there's insane competition. The prices are really, really low. That the discounts are 40, 50, 60% discount, and not for 1 year, for like a lot of years. So if you do have a life insurance, it's really important, or how do you say kedai? Worthwhile to check it, because you can save a lot of money here. I would just say that there are different discounts and the price is changing. So not always the best option is to get the best price for the first year, because sometimes you can get something for 10 years of like the different discounts. But again, in this area of life insurance and critical illness insurances, it's important, especially if you do have insurance, to see that you get the best price possible, because sometimes you can save a lot of money in this area. Unlike the health insurance, that usually when we check it, usually it's okay, usually it's small changes, and more the more challenging thing is to use it. By the way, unless someone has doubles, and I mean sometimes people have 2 health insurances, which is a big no-no, because there's no reason to have more than 1 insurance. Okay, so now I'm open for any question of any type. Shoot. Maybe someone not, I see the same 5 people in this column. I see Malcolm, I see Jenny, Debbie from the beginning. I had Yael, now is it Yossi? What's your name?
Yes, may I ask
Questions?
a question? Yes,
Yeah.
may I ask a question? For older people, for people who are over 65, is it possible to purchase any of these health insurances, or would it bankrupt us?
First of all, theoretically, yes. Secondly, the process of getting in is harder, because there is a health questionnaire, and usually someone above the age of 60 has issues. By the way, usually the insurance companies do not change the price if you have a problem, but they like to exclude an existing problem. As I mentioned before, a lot of time what we do, we suggest for a person, if he is interested in get a better health treatment, is not to purchase the surgeries, and then the price does make sense. It stays between the 100, 200 shekels a person, more or less. There is also another trick. I call it a trick because it's not with an insurance company. If someone wants only this part, the ambulatory, there is a way to get it without nothing, only this part, in around 70 to 100 shekels, only this. But again, when we get to this area of questions, which is good that you ask it, and I will answer all of them because it's good for this session, but after I answer, in the end of the day, it's really, really per person, because it depends what a person wants, what he's willing to pay. So it's not like I cannot give a recommendation, generally speaking, like for this question, but again, it is possible.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question about a legal thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so I once had insurance from a big company that I worked for, part of a collective, as you said. And after I left, they continued the collective, still at the good rate that they give, until I think 2026. I was told, and I'm not sure if it's true, at some point I can turn it into my own private insurance. By law, they can't turn you away. Is that true?
1 second, I have to see TV. Can I ask which company is it? Like the employer?
It was a big company, HP,
Okay.
and they had very good collective
Okay,
insurance.
I will explain. When you have let's start from when you work there. When you work at a workplace, especially the big workplaces with more than 150 or 200 employees, the employer cut a deal with the insurance company and get usually a better price and better terms than the private insurances. Okay? As a law, as a rule, there's always a paragraph in the policy that says that once you stop working there, the insurance company has to offer you the option to go private in a regular private price with your age, with a discount that approved on the first place with the employer, and they have to do it without questioning your health status. I mean, you have a complete continuity. Obviously, the price is completely different. Now, in your case, I believe what happened, there are several, not most, but several employers, big ones, that on the first place made another collective insurance to the porshim, to the people that retire.
Exactly.
Okay. But what happens usually when they do it, after couple 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 10 years, this collective is really weak because usually these people are older than the first ones. And therefore, usually it collapses and then it's being terminated by the employer. And then what they tell you, Judy, listen, now this solution is not available anymore. Let's go now to the classic one. You can go if you want private. So it is legal. And by the way, most of the times, this solution doesn't exist. It's only like usually in really big high-tech companies and the traditional ones like HP, like Amdocs, like I think I don't remember, but like only the big companies with the old employees.
So the question is, once it expires at some point, they must offer you the ability to get it privately, but you don't know what the price will be. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, we can even, if we really want to check, we can know the price as well. We can go to the company where it is, Phoenix, Migdal, Harel, see the price for your age, see at your collective policy what's the discount, and we can do it. But you don't need to do it now. When it will be terminated, you have 90 days, 3 months to do it, the continuity with no health questionnaire. And they suppose or have to offer.
That's important. Yeah, that's important to know. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Take maybe 1 or 2 more questions if there are, and then
Can I have a follow-up to what Judy said? When you say terminated, is that being fired or is that going on pension, or is that the same thing?
Come again?
So in other words, if you have a collective insurance and then you retire, you're not fired, you retire, and you want to continue with the health insurance, you have to go private, or you can continue paying in for however long you want.
Again, I heard everything besides I didn't understand the last, like the real question.
So in other words, if you have a collective insurance, okay, let's say like with the Histadrut, Hamarim, okay, and then let's say you retire, you can continue to pay for the health insurance, or that's considered terminating, and then you have the 90 days to.
It depends it depends. I believe that Irgun Hamorim in Harel or Phoenix depends. I don't know, distinguish between the Histadrut and Irgun. And my wife is a teacher, and I don't get it. But usually the Morim, I think you can continue in the terms of the collective. I believe that they do give you the option to stay in the same prices, and you don't need to go private.
I have a question.
Leah, what's up?
I have a private health insurance. At the time that I took it out, they were advertising shekel liyom. In the end, when I bought it, it was, I think, already shekel v'chetzi, and now it's about 3 shekels. And it's supposed to be a mashlim, a gesher between. It's a disability insurance, from what I understand. And it's supposed to be a gesher if chas v'chalil something happens between when you're disabled and when your CUD kicks in. And I feel like I'm paying, it's costing me at this point close to 1,000 shekels a year. And I
What?
What?
Again?
I said at this point, it's costing me about 1,000 shekels a year. And I don't know if it's wise to do. For a long time, I felt that, I'm still paying for nothing, or not very much. I'm paying, it's Russian.
Look, with you, Leah, I'm cheating because I know what you've got, okay? Because I did the pension thing, so I saw. What you have is not health insurance. It's a small insurance that, by the way, it's not today. It's not for sale at all. It's an insurance for teunot, like for accidents. Something that if you fall, you get some. But
if I fall, or if I become disabled or whatever, I get.
So if you want to talk to, you can talk to me private, and I will. It's not an expensive, as you said, it's not an expensive one. It's not that important. It's something in between.
But when you're counting pennies, every penny.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask you privately. Thank you.
No problem.
That maybe leads into the final thing, unless someone else has one other question. Ben, you offered anyone can have sort of free.
Wait! I see Jenny's husband. I see him.
It's Moshe.
Approaching.
Can I ask about a CUD? We have CUD through the Kupah from like 1 million years ago, and also CUD from Harel. Why do we have it twice? And
are you which Kupat Kholim are you?
Maccabi.
Okay. It is an important question about the CUD. I will say it in general. I will panic you for a second, then I will try to make it less. The CUD of the Kupat Kholim, I believe you call it Fonzie, right? Pyramid, Fonzie, hoax. Okay? It's a Fonzie. Okay? Now, it was funny unless it was a Fonzie with all Israeli civilians in it. I mean, almost all Israelis have it. And it's a Fonzie, which means that in the long run it can... Ponzi.
With the dagesh and the F.
Okay, the dagesh. Why it's a Ponzi? Because everybody pays. By age, the price is different. It's different for me and for someone who's older and younger. And it's supposed with this money to cover the claims. But it's obvious that nowadays, the money is almost not enough. And obviously, in 5 years from now, because the average goes up and there are more claims, it will collapse. And therefore, already now, this year, there are a lot of articles about it. There were changes, by the way, that makes it hard, like it makes the Kupat Kholim insurance worse than it was, harder to get the money when you are COD. And this is a huge problem in this Israeli system. Because it's really huge, there's no solution. The Israeli government, without going to politics, is not good in solving real problems. Usually they try to postpone it. And there is no real solution. Now, because we don't know, once it will collapse, what will happen? I mean, maybe the government will say, okay, you paid for 20 years to the Kupat Kholim, so we give you this and that. We do not recommend to cancel it, okay? But you have to acknowledge the fact that it's 50-50. On the other way around, the private COD considered to be the best insurance policy exists. Why? How do we know it? Because in 2019, the insurance companies said to the government, if you don't allow me to charge double, I stop selling. And they stopped selling. So we do not market private ones. So if you have private, you have to keep it. Because now I will say there is really different. Some people, I mean, I don't know I don't know the name that the person that asked the question, but there are really different coverages. It might be for the same period of time, so you can get both of them. Maybe it's after 5 years, like to extend the Kupat Kholim. So I don't know what you've got specifically. We can check it personally, but generally speaking, the private insurance COD, if you have it, you are lucky. If you have Kupat Kholim, I have it also. It's 50-50 if it's worth something. Of course, if someone machar COD, he will get paid. It's just that we don't know. I see here Leah Politzer. How old are you?
47. 47.
Yofi, if you have COD, you pay for it, and you are theoretically supposed to use it in 40 years from now, when you are around the age of 80. To assume that it will exist until the age of 80, most likely not. But because you pay only like 20 or 30 shekels, you say, okay, I will pay for it. But again, it's really, really hard topic. And I believe that in the next 3 to 4 years, there will be a solution because it's already collapsing, the whole system of the Kupat Kholim COD.
If I have COD, I have 2 COD, one for the first 5 years and one for the from 5 years until the end of life, and they're both for really nice sums of money, much more than the Kupa would ever give me. Why do I need to have to keep the Kupa as well? I mean, I already cancelled it, but that's another question.
If you
know, look, I have more than double of what I would get from the Kupa as private.
First of all, you can get this and that. But of course, that if you do have a private one with enough money, you can decide that the 200 shekels that you pay to the Kupa is not necessary.
Is it still always, 200 shekels at my age, like in the 60s and 70s? It's still 200 shekels to the Kupa?
Maybe 250. I don't know. This is usually 250. But again, it's something that it's better to check per person, and then to decide if to cancel it or not. In insurance, we always have Murphy around. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, we did the private COD for my husband, myself, and for our children. And I will not let my children take that one over in case they cancel it because they can't afford it.
Yeah, but by the way, in COD also, if you cancel it, the coverage stays a bit. I mean, it's a really good insurance.
Yeah, but I don't want to take a chance on them canceling it and then losing it, so I pay.
Yeah. We have some in our company. We have someone like you that pays for the whole tribe. But you can
Only the
move it.
CUD. The rest they can worry about. CUD,
Correct.
no way.
Correct.
Okay. Unless there's any other questions, first of all, thank you, Ben. Great
I have one
session.
more question.
Okay, sure.
Alternative for alternative treatments, do you recommend if you want to use your own people, like not if you want to go to some list that they have, do you recommend getting it at all? And if so, is there a particular company you recommend?
Yes. Now, this is, by the way, I say to everyone, this is like a good example of a specific question for a specific person. Okay. And I will answer. Nowadays, after all the reforms, the only company that gives you the option to go to anyone you want is Migdal. It's almost an unreal deal. You can purchase it for 20 shekels, and you get 50% back up to 130 shekels treatment per 16 treatments a year. Like, it's a really, really good deal if you go all the time. As I explained before, you just need to show that you have the first three things somewhere else. This is something new, by the way. Like, until 2023, you had to have the main insurance coverage in the same company. But now there was a reform. You can just go to Migdal straight or with your insurance agent and to buy only this.
Oh, okay. That sounds great.
Yeah. And it's the only company, by the way. All the rest already changed it and work only with their metaplim, which are obviously not good ones.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, cool. I'm already seeing the comments from Jenny, from Deborah. You want Ben's contact information, so I'll send it to everyone here. Ben, just to get an idea for people, they're like, okay, I want to dive deeper. I want to just sort of like get, you offered very generously to just do a free consultation with anyone just to see if there's areas they would get help. Just walk us through, even in 30 seconds, what is that experience like, so people can just see it. Could that be helpful for them or not? And then I think we'll probably wrap the session up.
Okay, I will start to say like straightforward. What's my interest? My interest is to go. It's only time of my office time, anyways, and I do an interaction with a person, and if it connects, or I convince the person to do, for instance, this refuah mashlim, what Yael asked about for a second, and then I do a sale of 20 shekels, and I have a client. And I saw here, a lot of people here are over the age of 50. So I believe that a lot of them already have insurance policies. And my interest is maybe if we get together, so I can give him the service on the existing policy. Now, the process is really simple. What I do, I check what you've got. I only need ID, like photo IDs, and an approval. We do it by SMS. Then I check what you've got. I go over it. Then we do a Zoom meeting, 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, it depends on the complexity. I explain the person what he got. Of course, I send an email with what you've got and recommendation. And after that, he decides if he wants to do the recommendation, doesn't want to do the recommendation, he wants to do the recommendations with his agent, he wants to do it with me, whatever. And again, I had a lot of interaction with your guys. Some of them are in this session now. Everything is really easygoing. Sometimes I'll just help someone with like for instance, this Yael still here?
Yeah.
Tomorrow, yeah. So maybe tomorrow I should do it somewhere else. In a good way, I don't care. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, if there is a flow, there is a flow. If not, gam sababa.
Oh, thank you. I know you've helped so many people in the program on their pension. Some you work with, and some you just give guidance and advice, and from that guides them to where they need to be. And that's
yeah. I would just say when
help.
someone asks me something, it's only like, as you said, a guidance. I don't need the whole charade. You know what I mean? I'm just saying, listen. I go to the pension thing, go to the website, click here, send me the annual report, show me the fees, and that's it. I mean, I'm not pushing myself to someone that is organized or everything is done. I mean, like, and if someone I can be helpful, I will help. I will help him.
Cool. Okay, so for everyone here, I'll send the recording out. I know there's a lot of people that also want to join, but that we're not able to join live, so we'll get that. Anyone that needs Ben's information, I know some of you already have it. If you need it, just ping me. I'll give it to you. And as mentioned, Ben will help you, no strings attached. Look, see, if there's ways to help, and just thank you for providing the services. For many Olim, it's fairly rare to find someone that
Malcolm, that I took care also of the, like, all when you see like in the S&P that it goes well, it's me. Remember that 3 years ago you asked me. You said, "Listen, I need you with me. Take care of the S&P."
Good to know. Okay, good to know. You got more skills than we realize. That'll be the next session.
Only because you asked me.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ben, and thanks everyone for coming and the questions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much. תודה רבה.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.